So good morning. In the last lecture, we have discussed about multiple access techniques in narrowband systems. Now we'll come to same techniques in wideband systems. So wideband systems are characterized by a large number of transmitters on one channel, and it employs TDMA techniques and CDMA techniques. They are characteristic feature of wideband systems: code division, multiple access. There are frequency division duplexing or time division duplexing, multiplexing techniques. Just like narrowband systems, TDMA in tandem with FDD, TDMA in tandem with TDD is used. Also, since code division multiple access is a characteristic of wideband system based multiple access techniques, so CDMA is used in tandem with FDD and also with TDD. So now we will study logical separation diagram in CDMA FDD. So before we venture into that, we need to understand what CDMA or code division multiple access is. It's basically a channel access method such as FDMA and TDMA. However, it is used where several transmitters can send information simultaneously over a single communication channel. Since we are using several transmitters, this means several users can share a band of frequency. Okay, to permit this without undue interference between the users, because if there are many antennas transmitting, many users are communicating over a single communication channel, there has to be some interference. So in order to mitigate the effect of interference between the users, CDMA employs spectrum technology, spread spectrum, and it also employs a special coding scheme. This coding scheme, what it does, it assigns a unique code to each transmitter. Now there is no question of interference because at the receiver side the code will be recognized. So CDMA is used as a preferred access method in many mobile phone standards. IS-95 also called CDMA1 and its 3G evolution CDMA 2000 are often simply referred to as CDMA. But UMTS, the 3G standard used by GSM carriers, also uses wideband CDMA or WCDMA as well as TD-CDMA and TD-SCDMA as its radio technology. So CDMA is everywhere, be it in UMTS or GSM. So we are now concerned about CDMA used in tandem with frequency division duplexing. Since it is code division multiple access technique, so y-axis is code. So code is represented on y-axis and frequency is represented on x-axis because the duplexing technique is frequency based. So users are separated from one another based upon the code. A particular user has a unique code. So user 1 is different from user n in terms of code. Forward channel and reverse channel, however, are allocated based upon frequency bifurcation. So there is a vertical bifurcation in terms of frequency for forward channel and reverse channel for each given user 1 to n in the CDMA FDD technique. Now, similar case with CDMA TDD, only the change is that the x-axis here is time domain. User 1 is separated from user 2 in terms of code. Each has a unique code. However, forward channel and reverse channels are bifurcated based upon the time. Now, this table compares particular cellular system and the multiple access techniques that it uses along with the duplexing technique. So AMPS, the advanced mobile phone system, uses FDMA in tandem with FDD. The most preferred system, global system for mobile communication, GSM, uses TDMA in tandem with FDD. USDC, the US Digital Cellular System, uses TDMA in tandem with FDD. What is prevalent in Europe is Digital European Cordless Telephone DECT system. It uses FDMA in tandem with TDD. And for narrowband signals, US narrowband spectrum IS-95 standard, that's one of the most prominent standards for CDMA, uses CDMA in tandem with FDD. Now, let's talk about some characteristics of frequency division multiple access FDMA. One phone per circuit per channel. and there is a very big limitation associated with it, that it has a huge amount of idle time which causes wasting of resources. It is simultaneously and continuously transmitting, because there is no division in time, there is only division in frequency, so all the time it has to transmit, usually implemented in narrowband systems. And some examples are, in AMPS is a FDMA bandwidth of 30 kilohertz implemented, so that's a standard American standard for FDMA. Now we will try to compare the performance of FDMA compared to TDMA based on some metrics. Uh, Fewer bits for synchronization in for FDMA as compared to TDMA. Fewer bits for framing in favor of FDMA. However, for installation of cell site, the system cost is higher for implementing an FDMA system. Also, it requires duplexes, FDD, etc. Higher costs for duplexes used in base station and subscriber units. And also, FDMA requires RF filtering to minimize adjacent channel interference. And just to mitigate this huge load of channel interference, we had needed to be resorting to CDMA, code division multiple access. So there was a limitation of FDMA in terms of channel interference that has resulted in evolution of CDMA. So there is a big problem of channel interference in FDMA also. And there are some non-linear effects due to the components that enable transmission and reception, and these nonlinear effects are more prominent in FDMA than in other techniques. So let's discuss about them. First is that there is many channel same antenna in FDMA, and for maximum power efficiency they have to operate near saturation, and everything that is getting transmitted are basically amplified versions of some signals. So near saturation, the power amplifier will boost the power level of the signal, become nonlinear. There are nonlinear effects which result in ultimate distortion of the signal at the receiver end, and there is a loss of information. Non-linearities cause signal spreading, and there are intermodulation frequencies, and this intermodulation effect IM. This IM effect is very prominent in FDMA systems, and they are nothing but undesired harmonics. There is interference with other channels in the FDMA system, and it decreases C2I performance. Interference outside the mobile radio band, it means adjacent child interference is also on the higher side, and higher RF filters needed in order to mitigate this interference caused due to spreading of the signal. And to implement RF filter, it requires additional inputs in terms of cost and all that. So due to this nonlinear effect, there are some uh, there is some price that we need to pay for implementing this FDMA system. Now, I would like to talk about these undesired harmonics, which I have written in here with the name IM. They are actually some distortions of the amplitude modulation of signals, and it happens in signals which contain two, three or more different frequencies, and the main cause is linear non-linearities or time variance in the system. And this type of intermodulation or IM between frequency component, it forms additional components at frequencies that are not just at harmonic frequencies. And by harmonic, I mean integral multiples of the frequencies, like harmonic distortion, but also at the sum and different frequencies of the original frequency. It means that if the original frequency is F, and these frequencies can occur at F minus A and F minus B. So if uh, it also can occur at F plus A and F plus B, and it's a higher order effect that results in distortion of the signal. And the main cause is nonlinear behavior of the physical equipment, or if you are processing the signal using some algorithm, the nonlinear behavior of that algorithm also also affects these undesired harmonics in a big way. Because what happens, the theoretical outcome of these nonlinearities, which can be calculated by extending a time series or polynomial series, and there has to be some approximation of that polynomial series, which is always not perfect, and due to which some undesired effect comes into picture. So these need to be minimized. Now we come to some parameters of the channels in an FDMS system. So the number of channels in an FDMS system depends upon total spectrum allocation, which has been indicated in this relation using term B subscript T. There is another term B subscript guard, which is the guard band, and the channel bandwidth is B subscript C. So there is a direct linear relation between the number of channels in an FDMS system, and these three quantities related to the spectrum. So first is total spectrum allocation subtracted by guard band and divided by channel bandwidth. That gives you the number of channels in an FDMS system. We will take an example of an advanced mobile phone system, AMPS, implemented with frequency division multiple access in tandem with frequency division duplexing. It's an analog cellular system. There is 12.5 megahertz per simplex band, and guard band is 10 kilohertz, and the total channel bandwidth is 30 kilohertz. Okay, so let's put these values into the standard formula, which gives you n, which is nothing but bt minus b guard upon bc, and where bt is 12.5 megahertz. In this relation, I have indicated megahertz by e6, it means 10 raised to power 6, minus b guard, which is 10 kilohertz, 10e3, divided by bc, which is total channel bandwidth, equal to 30 kilohertz, and that gives you the number, which 416. So we need to have 416 channels to implement this particular multiple access scheme if frequency related parameters are have numerical value like this. Now we come to time division multiple access. So there are time slots. Users are divided in terms of time slots. One user should be there per slot. There is buffer and burst method. The transmission is non-continuous because there is a time elapse between user 1 and 2. The data is digital and the modulation is also digital. These are some characteristics of time division multiple access TDMA. And let's have a look at one TDMA frame. So we have the central information message, and it is preceded by a preamble and succeeded by trail bits. So slot 1 and slot 2 preamble is transmitted. In slot 3, we transmit the trail bits, synchronizing bit, information data, and guard bits. So these four are types of bits are sent in this particular slot 3, and this thing is repeated over and over again over time. This is one TDMA frame. Some features of TDMA is that it's a single carrier frequency for several users. It transmits in bursts because it's non-continuous transmission, because there's a time elapsed between user 1 and user 2. The battery consumption is lower because of the time elapse and burst transmission. The handoff process is much simpler, and with FDD, we need a switch instead of our full duplexer. It has a very high transmission rate. It has a very high synchronization overhead. That's not very desired property. Guard slots are necessary to clearly indicate when the transmission of one user has stopped and another user has begun. So these were some of the characteristic features of TDMA. Now Just like FDMA, we also need to know about the number of channels required in a TDMA system, and that are also related with the frequency parameters. These frequency parameters are B subscript TOT, which is total spectrum allocation, and B subscript guard, which is the guard band, and BC, which is the channel bandwidth. And there are two numerical values. One is a value of 2 and one is small m. Small m is number of TDMA users per radio channel. So we also need to have an estimate about the number of users that might use this system, so we can have a best case and worst case scenario. So if we put these values into the formula, we can have number of channels required to implement uh, a system with the some given specificities. Now we will take an example for implementing a TDMA FDD system. There is a forward link at B total equal to 25 megahertz. The radio channel's total capacity total bandwidth is 200 kilohertz, and if the number of users is 8 speed channels supported, and no guard band is assumed. If we put all these value into this formula, the second term, which involves guard band, vanishes because there is no guard band involved. We need to multiply m with B total and divide it with BC. So B total here is 25 megahertz. Multiply it with 8 and divide by 200 kilohertz. 200 into 10 raised to power 3, indicated here with E3. So N comes out to be 1000 simultaneous users. It can support with these frequency parameters in mind. And M is equal to 8 here is number of channels supported. That is the number of users per radio channel. So efficiency of TDMA, there is a frame efficiency, there is end user efficiency, and because of source and channel coding, the efficiency increases, and the efficiency is always indicated in terms of percentage of transmitted data that contain information. Now repeating frame structure, I have already told you about this same structure for TDMA. I have told you about FDMA. Now this is the similar structure for TDMA. This type of frame is cyclically repeated over time.